there's no objective winner of debates. Do you still believe this?
I don't believe. Like, I think it's subjective. Like, that's what I meant.
Okay, why is it the case that we cannot have objective determinants of who wins a debate? Right? Do you not believe there are principles that we follow? Like in chess, for example, we can say, okay, someone like Magnus Carlsen objectively is the best chess player because he objectively
No,
beats this player, checkmates them. You don't think it's the same
yeah,
thing?
no, I don't. No. So, for example, because
Why
we have
not?
like different, I'll tell you why. We have like, obviously,
Hmm.
I'm not quite sure about chess, but I'll just give you the example of Tekken. So, if I have a Tekken tournament player, we have a Tekken tournament,
Uh huh.
and then we have like a specific Tekken player beating a Tekken player that's won like, 6 tournaments in a row. I cannot say that just
Hmm.
because that specific player beat that player once, like they'll be better than that player overall.
Okay, you're just completely shifted the conversational scope away from the actual relevant
No,
points.
I just gave an
What my
example
question was
of why
actually
I think we
about.
cannot
Well,
have
just relax for a
objective.
second, right? So I'm talking about whether or not we can determine objectively who wins a particular
Yeah,
debate.
it
You
just
said no,
depends
you
what you
don't
mean
believe
by
it.
objectively.
Yeah,
Like, what do you mean by
relevant to
objective?
whether or not we can objectively determine on the basis of one loss who is better than someone else at debate. That's irrelevant. These are two different
Okay,
concepts.
what do you mean by objective in this like sense?
Objective insofar as it's not based on your feelings or opinions, obviously, right? So I'm
But
asking you again. I'm
yeah,
gonna re-ask.
but
I'm
when
gonna re-ask. Hold on, because I don't think the question registered the first time, right? The question I'm asking you currently is about whether or not we have an objective winner of debates or of debates specifically. You think there's not objective results of debates. You think that all of
Mhm.
these things are just opinions or peepees or feelings.
Correct.
I'm saying that's incorrect. Now, you telling me that you cannot use one debate where someone loses a debate or one specific tournament in that gaming instance to make a determination on who is better holistically does not address whether or not it is the case that you can have an objective winner of these particular tournaments or these particular debates in particular. So I'm asking you
No,
again, how
obviously,
is the
in
case
terms
there?
of
It is
in
completely
terms of a
subjective.
tournament,
Mhm.
hold on. In terms of a
Yeah.
tournament, yeah, you can have an objective winner, right? But I don't think that's the same like as in a debate because a debate, like obviously, for example, if
Why?
you have no judges, right? For example, if you have no judges, let's say I'm watching like Hermes versus Infinity, which has like Hermes
Mhm.
versus Godly, which had like no judges. If one
Okay.
party thinks that Hermes is better than Godly and the other party thinks that Godly is better than Hermes, there's no objective way for me to determine, oh, which debate is better.
Why?
It's based on my subjective opinion.
Why? That's just a recapitulation of the statement. Why?
It's yeah, because I literally explain myself. Like, where's the objectivity in
No, he
saying
didn't. You just
the
said a
data is
while
better?
ago, oh, in the case where there are no judges, and you have one side saying person A won, and another side saying the
If okay,
opposite,
so if you
then
determine the
there's the
judges to
case
be
that
objective,
there's
then
no
okay,
objective one.
sure.
Well,
But
that's just
in this
repeating the
case, there
point,
was no
right?
judges. In this case, there was no
Okay,
judges. So
so
that's
why
why
is
it's
it the
like
case that judges is a necessary condiction for there to be an objective with determining who wins?
okay. So how are you gonna?
Why?
Okay, so you answer this for me. How are you gonna determine who wins the debate objectively without judges? Go ahead.
By using dialectical principles, like for example, burden of proof, burden of rejoinder. There you go. That's like two
Burden of
examples.
proof and burden of rejoinder. That doesn't really
Yeah.
like address anything. I don't understand that.
How does it not address what you just said?
Okay, so how does burden of proof and burden of rejoinder like actually explain to me how you can determine the objective winner in a
Because
debate
they
without
are the sort of rules of debate, such as the causal governance over who wins a particular point. So, for
no,
example,
you're
if
telling
me
me
and you are
what
debating,
are I'm asking you how do they determine
when I'm
this, not
talking,
what
just
they
stay
are.
quiet, okay? Just learn that from now. Okay, let me just finish. So, example would be, for instance, if I give like an actual argument, or sorry, let me just like give an example where it's me and you debating over the shape of the Earth, right? And you take the position that the Earth is round, and I take the position the Earth is flat. And I just say,
Mhm.
oh, the Earth is flat because I feel as if the Earth is flat. My gut is just telling me that. Whereas you, on the
Mhm.
contrary, you present scientific evidence, all sorts of evidence demonstrating that the Earth is actually round. Now, if I just keep on repeating myself and just appealing to my gut feelings, right, and whereas you present scientific evidence to demonstrate whether Earth is round, then even if there's no judge or there's no person watching that debate, you objectively want that because you fulfilled your burden of proof, sorry, whereas I did not fulfill my burden of rejoinder by actually addressing the actual argument.
Okay, but
Now, in that
mhm.
case scenario, I've just highlighted, hold up, I've just illustrated the case scenario in which there's no actual judge and there's still a winner objectively of who won the fucking point based off how debates work. Now, which part of the argument is
Mhm.
hard for you to understand?
So you're just
Hmm.
saying that like the person that provides evidence for the claim, they would objectively win that point, correct?
No shit, Sherlock. That's how debates work.
Okay, yeah, that's a specific. Okay, that's in relation to a specific point, right? We're talking about a specific
That's a
debate,
specific
like
what, sorry? Wait,
obviously.
sorry, my background. That's a specific what?
Sorry, so you're talking about in relation to a specific point or just the overall debate?
The debate is going to be a collection of all the points being argued upon. So the same logic which applies to
Hmm.
this one point would apply to every single individual point, and so it would just be something which is emblematic of how a judge debates objectively anyway. So it doesn't matter.
So okay, so I agree the instance that, oh, if person X provides evidence for their claim, whereas person Y says like, oh, I just feel this is the case, then yeah, sure, person X would win like that point. But you can always have a person that
Okay.
would say that person Y would win just based off things like biasness, based on the fact that that person doesn't like the other person that is saying that point, and
How
so
does
on and
this
so forth.
invalidate what they just said, Rano? How so?
It doesn't invalidate what I said. I just said that like this like refutes the idea of
All your no, it
objective
doesn't refute
in a debate.
anything. It doesn't refute jack shit. All you're just telling me here is we can have flawed means by which you come to the conclusion of who won the fucking debate. That doesn't tell me whether or not
Yeah,
we can objectively
but
determine who wins the
hold
debate
on, hold
based off
on.
the dialectical structures
I just
that I've just
told you, yeah,
established.
excluding what you said, like I just told you that if this person Y that literally watches this debate and thinks that the person that said, "Oh, I feel like this is the case," thinks on that point, then there is no objectivity. It's all based on subjective
No,
opinion
no,
of
no,
that
no, no,
person.
no, 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 no. Just because there's the case that someone has an opinion on a particular matter does not mean that the thing is that matter itself does not have an objective fact. So, for example, you could
What do you mean
say
by an
out of
objective fact?
bias, a flat earther, hold on, I'll just give an actual example. A flat earther out of bias, because of his background conspiracy theories, is going to believe the earth is actually flat and the government is trying to trick us and all of that stuff. And all of this is just a mere illusion that they're creating to basically manipulate the masses. That's his opinion on the matter. Doesn't mean that it is the case there's not an objective fact, which refutes that opinion. However, it just demonstrates that he has a false opinion. So you tell me that someone can have an incorrect or flawed opinion based on biases on a particular matter does not speak volumes of whether or not this subject matter has objective facts or not. You are not
No,
invalidating the point.
directly addresses the fact
No,
that
it
you said
doesn't.
like, no, hold on, yeah, it does, because if that specific person doesn't objectively think what you're saying, that means there's no objectivity within
No
like
one
the
is
debate.
saying that someone objectively thinks what I'm saying. We're talking about whether the
Wait,
facts of the matter is objective. Can you have an objective fact about the matter? The answer is yes.
can you have a what?
Can we have an objective fact about who wins a debate? The answer is yes. We have objective facts in every single
Again, I
debate about who
disagree,
wins the
and I
debate.
explained why I disagree.
You disagreed that their disagreement and explanation was fucking dog shit. So I'm going to repeat the point again,
You
right? So
thinking it's
what's the
dog?
symmetry
You okay?
breaker?
Hold on. You
What is the
thinking it's
symmetry
dog?
breaker between the
Listen, I
example I've given
like
and the
prove
argument we're talking about
bullshit.
right
I
now?
literally said that
What's
if
the symmetry breaker?
there's a specific person that watches that debate and thinks that the person that like just said, "Oh, I feel this is the case one," then there's no objectivity. That's subjective.
Oh,
So as long as we have that subjective
if
view for that
someone
person,
if someone
there's
has
no chance of
opinion which
win
is
a debate.
based on bias about something, then it has to be subjective. Me,
It is
Rano,
subjective
me, retarded.
based on what
That's
that
your
person
argument.
thinks.
That's your argument. So again, the flat Earth example is there an objective fact about whether or not the Earth is flat? Please don't tell me there's no objective fact about this. Can't be this retarded, right? There's an
Well,
objective
if you
fact. Can we at
hold on,
least both agree on this?
if
Can
you
we at least both agree that there's an objective fact about the Earth being flat or round?
if okay, so if you're speaking to like an
Wait,
atheist
can
who's
we
a
at
flat
least both agree
earther,
on this? Can we
hold on,
both
hold on,
agree
hold
on
on.
this?
Let me just
I'm not
tell
going to
you.
let you run from the point. Can we
In
at
my
least both agree
opinion,
on this?
I believe the Earth is not flat, right? But if you're speaking to
Okay,
an
so there's an
atheist
objective
or
fact
a
about this,
flat
right? Can we
earther,
at least both agree on
hold on.
that? So
It,
there's an objective fact, right, about that particular matter. It's a follow-up question, right? So the answer is yes.
oh,
There's an
wait.
objective
In my
fact about the
view,
shape of
okay,
the
hold
Earth.
on. In my view, it would be objective, sure, but in the view of the other
Okay,
person,
cool.
that's a
So
flat
yeah,
Earth.
of
It
course, I'm
wouldn't.
talking about your view anyways. So there's an objective fact about the Earth being round,
That's
right?
in
So
my
that's
view,
an
which is still
objective fact.
subjective
Yeah,
because there's a
don't care. You don't
person.
have to specify that in my view part because my question is me asking about your view, dumbass. So yeah, in
Yeah,
your view,
I'm
there
just
is an objective
expressing
fact. The
person
objective fact about
that
the
think
Earth
that this is not the
shape would
case.
be that the
It
Earth is
wouldn't mean
round,
that
correct?
you're
Now,
talking about
if
objectivity
I
here.
have
But
a
this
flat
is my
earther, hold
opinion.
on. If I have a flat earther, let's say I'm a flat earther, and I give a biased opinion on the shape of the Earth, and I say the Earth is not round. Does that make it the case that there's no objective fact about the shape of the Earth, retard?
What
Yes
did
or
you
no?
say? I didn't hear the
If
last part.
I have, let's say I'm supposed to be a flat earther, for instance, right? And I basically give an opinion on the Earth's shape, and I give the opinion that the Earth is not round, it is flat based
Hmm.
on my background conspiracy theoretical commitments. Would it now be the case that it is not an objective fact that the Earth is round? Yes or no? Which one of the above,
So,
retard?
so if you think the Earth is flat and you hold to that, that would be like
Yes or no?
objective. Hold on,
I'm not
I'm
gonna
just
let you run
clarifying.
from the point.
That
Yes or
would
no?
be. I'm just clarifying, bro. So if I think the Earth is round, right, that would be objective from my point of view, and if you think the Earth is flat, that would be objective from your point of view. However, both
Yeah,
of
that
those
doesn't
opinions
address the
are
question. I ask you
subjective
yes or
within
no
the matter.
question. So we're not.
Hold
So
on,
first and foremost, do you think it is the case that it is relative to point of views that the Earth is round? Are you this stupid? Are you this brain dead?
again, if I think the Earth is round,
Wait,
right,
yes or
and
no?
another
Or do you think it is relative to one's perspective that the Earth is round? It's not something which is true independently perspective.
no, I think it's multiple perspectives are involved in this because there's people that
Okay,
think the Earth is
so
flat.
you're this retarded. So let me just ask you a different question. Water being H2O chemical composition, is that relative to perspective or is this an objective scientific fact discovered by empirical sciences?
Water being comprised of what, two hydrogen atoms and then one oxygen
Water
atom?
being identical to H2O chemical composition. Is this relative
Depends. Like
to chemical? Is this relative to perspectives, or is it the case that it is going to be the type
this
of
can,
thing
yeah, this can be,
which
this
is
can be a.
objective and so forth? Hold on, let me finish the goddamn question.
I
Or is
know
it
it.
going to be the case that it is going to be something independently of one's perspectives? Which one is it?
That's just, yeah, it's a complete. Yeah, as 69 Z said,
This
it's a
is not a
complete
confusing
personality,
question, you idiot.
because this
Just
is
answer
something
the
that can
question.
be, okay. This is something that can be empirically verified to be the case.
It
What you're
is
saying,
empirically verified, Ron. I'm not sure if you went to school, but it actually is, and it has been empirically
yeah, it is
verified
the case
for
empirically.
years
Yeah,
that
with
water
empirical
is
verification, it is
H2O.
the
So I
case.
don't know what you're
Me
asking. I don't
saying
know
the
what you're
beta
saying.
X
If it
is
is
better than
empirically
the beta
verified,
Y,
as if it is
it's not
not.
something that's empirically verified by science. It's just a matter of opinion.
Okay,
You do realize that,
so
right?
so you understand the
Me
shape of
saying
the Earth is empirically
no,
verified by science to be round, right? But they still believe it is relative.
what, it can be relative, but it's a
Hmm.
completely different like example. It's not relating to the beta X being better than Y, because that's opinion based. Me
Water
saying
being
this is
H2O,
H2O is not
Rano,
opinion
is that
based.
going to be
That's
something
not
which is
opinion
true
based, bro.
independently
That's
of
empirically
me or
verified.
your perspective? Yes or
That's
no?
Apollo. That's not opinion based. Is water being H2O
Okay,
opinion based?
okay, so you agree it's not
Hold
opinion
up.
based.
Hold up.
So
Is
if I
water
was to
being
give an opinion,
H2O
hold on. Okay, so you agree with me. So you agree with me.
is no, no,
So
no.
if I
I
was to
don't agree.
basically say,
Is
yes, you
water
do,
being
because you just
H2O
said that water
empirically?
being
Hold on.
H2O
Is
is not
water
opinion
being
based. So let's say, for
verified?
instance, let's say, hold
Is
on, shut up,
water
stop talking.
being
Let's say, for
H2O
example, Jara was to
verified?
come in and Jara says water is not H2O. Would it be the case that this is now based on an
That's just
opinion, retard? Yes or
disanalogous.
no?
That's completely disanalogous.
Answer the
Because
question.
yeah,
I'm
that's
not asking if
disanalogous.
this is analogous or
I am
not. I'm
also
asking you, would it be
is
something based on an
disanalogous.
opinion? Answer the goddamn question. Would it
Okay,
not be
so if
subjective because I have someone else who believes water is not H2O?
hold on. If Gyro thinks that water is not H2O,
Answer the
then
goddamn question. Yes or no? Which one is it? Would it not
if
be
Gyro,
subjective?
if Gyro thinks that, that just means like he
Can you
hasn't
just
studied
answer
science.
the yes or no question with a
So
yes or
in a
no, please?
debate, right, I can hold the opinion that someone won without having
Could we
to
have a
do
substantive
any type of
conversation
work.
and not a
Can
dodgeball
you,
session?
I'm not dodging anything. I'm answering what you're saying.
Of course you are. You're just being a dodgeball athlete right now. You won't even answer basic questions. I'm asking you again. I'm going to
Your
re-ask the
example is
question because I'm not going to let
disanalogous
you up to the
because
point, right? So hold on, because
something,
you think for some odd reason, hold on, you think for some crazy reason that if someone has an opinion on the particular matter X, that automatically means that matter is going to be subjective. I'm going to ask you the question.
yeah, correct.
We have water being H2O chemical composition. That's an objective
Hmm.
fact. We both agree it's an objective fact.
But that's
Okay.
something
Now
we
if
can
Jar comes
empirically
in, hold on,
verify
stop
of
talking.
your example
I've
is
warned you before.
disanalogous.
Don't talk when
In
I'm
a
talking. Stay
debate, we
quiet.
cannot
Okay.
empirically
So
verify
in a
who won the
context where
debate.
it's
We
water being
go based off
H2O chemical
of
composition, someone comes in and
there
say it
is
is
no way
not
to actually
H2O.
test that,
Would it
oh,
now
this
be
is how true
subjective?
beta
Yes or no,
X and Y.
Rano? Rano, yes or no?
Apollo,
Which one is it?
H2O is water objectively, right? Because it's something that we do through empirical basis. In a debate, there's no way for
I'm
us,
not
or
asking
there's no way
for a
for us, there's no
backstory on the
empirical method
nature
we
of
have.
water. I'm asking you a
There's no,
yes or no question about the topic
yeah,
here.
and I'm
Answer the
clarifying
question.
it. I'm answering it for you. There's no way
You're not
for
answering
us
the
in a
question. You're
debate
just
to
dodging the
empirically
question.
verify that the beta X is better than Y because it's
Would it
fully
not be
subjective.
subjective if Jar comes in and says that
Because
water is
Y
not
is
H2O?
a
Answer the question. I've
sorry,
still yet to hear yes or
is
no to my
objective.
question.
What was your question?
Would it not be
Answer.
objective or would it not be subjective? Which one is it?
What if Gyro thinks that water is H2O? I mean, it's not
Water is
H2O.
not H2O. Try the conversation. He just comes in and he just says, "Oh, I don't agree
I just
that
cannot
water
hear
is
what you're saying. I think
H2O."
your mic is
Would
very
it not
loud.
be something which is subjective? Yes or no?
Water, nah, because it can be empirically verified to be objective, which is
Okay,
not the case
so
within a debate.
even if Jar was to be making this claim on the basis of biases and all of this stuff, you'd agree that it is still an objective fact that water is H2O, correct?
Yeah, because we have empirical basis for it.
Okay,
Sure.
so retard, look at this though. Look at this though. Look at this obvious rhetorical checkmate. This dialectical checkmate,
There's
right?
not a
So
checkmate
the
because
obvious
your
dialectical
example,
checkmate here is
your
because
debate
you
doesn't
think for
have
some
empirical
stupid reason,
evidence
you
for
think for
that.
some odd reason. Hold on, stop talking because you know you're scared. You think for some odd
I'm not
reason
scared.
that if someone disagrees or thinks that someone like Hermes won against infinity, and
Hmm.
based off biases, that automatically
Hmm.
means that the thing itself is subjective. But you just agreed a while ago that
Can we?
someone
Okay.
believing something on the basis of
Can
bias
we?
does not
Okay.
automatically
Can we?
indicate
Hold on.
that there's no
Can
objective
we?
facts about the matter.
And can we empirically verify that Hermes won over infinity? Show me how.
Can we get back on track with the conversation? That's how you're
No, no,
losing
no,
this
no. Because
point
you
right
brought
now.
this example up, so I'm just asking you a question. You're the one who brought up the example
You're
of the
asking me a
H2O,
zero
right?
question. Yes, I agree with you.
So you think we can empirically verify how that Hermes be infinity?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Do you think we can empirically
Of course,
verify
you can
that
empirically
Hermes be
verify this.
infinity?
It has been
Okay,
empirically
how? How do we
verified.
empirically
Now,
verify this to be
could you adjust my art? Of course, we can empirically verify. Hold on.
How do we empirically verify that Hermes be infinity?
Oh,
Show me. Apollo, we can't hear you.
we can listen to the recording. We see. I'm still talking. Just take a quarter. So we listen to
Mm-hmm.
the point of both debaters, the proofs that have been
Mm-hmm.
explicated on by both debaters, the citations, the evidence, the explanation, the sort of reason, whether it's abductive, inductive, or deductive reasoning. We can listen. We can listen to the
Okay,
argument,
and how is this
whether or not
comparative
the
to what I've
premise is
been
leading to a
H2O?
conclusion, and we can also listen. I'm still talking. I'm still talking. I thought you wanted to hear the explanation, big boy, or
This
little
guy
boy.
is
Right.
slow.
So, and then after we can listen to the rejoinders of the actual argument. So these rejoinders are going to be objections to the actual argument. Now, which part of that would not
Okay.
be empirical verification of who wins the debate, retard?
Okay, so even though like we're using like okay, if you think this is empirical verification, that's perfectly fine. The thing is you cannot prove the matter objectively because like
This
I
is the what,
said,
sir?
there's always gonna be a person that would say that oh Hermes won and this can be a person that says infinity won. With H2O being water, if you have a person that says oh H2O is not
Some can
water,
also
that
love
person
water and believe that water is not H2O. So disagreement does
yeah,
not automatically suffice or sufficient for there to be subjectivity,
yeah, but the thing
right?
is
Just
this is
because
the
there's
reason why
disagreement
it's
on the
different.
particular matter on the basis of biases doesn't mean the thing is self-subjective. That's a trash dog piss
It would
argument.
be subjective. It would be subjective that the like within a
Doesn't
debate.
follow
But
from some disagreeing on something else that that thing is subjective, retard. You've already agreed on it.
Apollo, you
Your
don't even
reason here is
do you
inconsistent.
know what subjective is? Do you know what subjective means? Tell me the definition of subjective. Go ahead.
Subjective means
Is
something to do with
water
mind
being
dependence or
H2O
dependence on
opinion based,
feelings,
or can we
opinions, or
actually verify
emotions.
this?
Now tell me now,
Okay,
how is it going to be the case that
so
someone
is
disagreed on the
water
particular
being
matter and something which is
H2O
sufficient for
is
the
water
subject
being
matter to be
H2O opinion
subjective?
based, or
How
can we
so?
actually verify this to be the case?
Sorry, excuse me, I didn't hear your question.
So is water being H2O
Repeat your question.
only opinion based, or can we actually verify this to be the case?
But I already said that it is it is verifiable. Retard. That's not
Okay,
just
so it's
an
verifiable.
you're just
So
shadowboxing right now.
how do we verify again?
Okay,
So going
we're
back to the
agreeing the
point,
point again. Yeah,
how
I
do
got you.
we know that
How's it going to
debater
help you though?
X
How's
is
me
better
taking
than
on this
Y in a
particular matter
debate?
going to help you in any way whatsoever? Especially when you've already agreed that disagreeing on water being H2O is not sufficient for the actual matter to be subjective. You've already
That's
agreed on
okay.
this.
So hold on. So you brought up the person that
The
disagreed. Okay,
severe
you brought up
problem
the
here.
person.
So there's the only thing which is
Apollo.
worse. The only thing which is worse
No,
than being consistently
you listen
retarded
to
is
me,
being
okay. If
inconsistently
one
retarded.
person
And that's you
disagrees
right
with
now.
what a
You're being
BH2O,
inconsistently retarded.
right?
You're making
Even
inconsistent
though
judgments in this debate right
that
now.
can be verified and can be factually checked, that person is just a fucking retard. This is completely different within a debate because in a
I've already
debate,
explained
right?
this so I can verify who wins the debate based off empirics and based off the actual
Oh,
reasoning from
you
the.
just repeat
So you
yourself.
did not even address any of the points I've
You
mentioned in
didn't.
respect
You
to
just
the
repeated.
objectivity
You just
of how we
repeated yourself.
determine who wins a particular
You
debate.
just
You're
repeated
retarded.
yourself. You literally just repeated yourself. Apollo.
I repeat
If I
myself
watch
because you're repeatedly
Apollo,
not tracking the points. I have to repeat
Apollo,
myself, of
Apollo
course,
again.
because it
If
has not been
someone watches
registered in
you
your
debate, if
pea-sized
someone watches
brain
you,
for the past
if
15 minutes. Of
someone,
course, I'm going to have to repeat myself again
if
over and over and
someone
over
watches
again.
you
I
debate,
don't know
okay.
how
If
this is going to
someone
be in the
watches you,
rhetorical strategy, which is
your
going to work
example.
in your favor.
Apollo, if someone watches you debate
Can you
and
address
they
the
say
actual
that you
argument
don't
or something to
understand
rhetorically
shit and you
posture?
just stand on your neck, how is this comparative at all to what have been H2O? Explain that to me.
Because
Go
in
ahead.
both cases, you're using empirical analysis to make a judgment, you dumbass
You're
retard.
using empirical analysis to make a judgment, but one can actually be factually proven, the other cannot because it's always based on opinions.
Why
Retard.
is it? Why is it the case you cannot
Water
factually
being
prove who
H2O
wins
is
a
not
point,
based
you
on
dumbass?
opinion.
That just begs the question again.
Water,
That
it
begs
doesn't
the
beg the
question
question
again.
because water being H2O is
Yes,
not
it
based
does.
on
You
opinion.
saying that it cannot be factually proven is just a recapitulation of your original assertion, which is yet
Yeah,
to
and
be
I told
demonstrated
you
to
why
be
it cannot be
correct.
factually proven because there's always gonna be
Your
like
your your
someone that
reason was you
disagrees
tell
in the
me,
debate.
oh, but we can disagree upon it. We can disagree upon it based on biases. Then I gave you an instance where you disagree on something based on biases, and you don't believe that to be subjective.
What? I said that it can be factually proven. That's
Your
why I
whole
don't believe it.
argument for being subjective is you saying we can have a disagreement upon it based on biases, and I gave an instance about a water case scenario,
No,
dumbass, where someone disagrees on something based
biases
on
was just an
biases, and you
example.
still don't believe it is subjective.
Biases was just an example. It can be like a different matter of opinions, like what you think makes a debater good. Like for example, if person A sounds more convincing with the argument, you know, X might say A is a better debater, even though B had better arguments, so on and
We're
so
not
forth.
talking about
So
who's
it's
a better
always based on
debater,
opinion.
Rano. We're talking about who wins the
No,
debate,
that's what we're
dumbass.
talking about.
Who
How
wins the
do
debate?
you think
No,
objectivity
no,
should
no.
win
We're
a
talking
debate? And I
about
don't
the
say that
main point
exists.
of this conversation, and we have this on the clip. We can roll back the clip. It's us talking about whether or not there are objective winners of debates. You think there's
There
not objective
isn't.
winners
I
of
already
debates? That is a
explained this.
retarded, trash, dog piss, horse piss position. And I'm telling you here that
If
you're
it's a
talking
trash
about.
position,
Oh,
explain
you're
how it's a
talking
trash
about.
position
Oh, whoa,
because you
whoa,
haven't
whoa,
proven
whoa,
it to
whoa.
know
We
the
don't have
case.
reason
You
which
haven't
can
proven
determine
how
who's
it's a
better
trash
debated. Doesn't
position.
address the point.
You're comparing the idea of water being H2O to us determining which debater is better in a debate. That's just
I just
false. Like,
told you how we could do this, even in the case of chess, for example. We have rules of chess, and we can use these rules of chess to make a determination of who wins a particular chess game. Same logic applies to debates. There are rules for debates. You have burden of proof. You
what
have
if,
burden of
okay,
rejoinder. If someone does
which
not
rules?
fulfill
The
these
rules that
burdens,
you're
they lose the
presupposing?
point, you dumbass.
The rules
So
that you're
just like,
presupposing?
hold on, stop talking, you
The
retarded
rules that
loacher
you're
scumbag,
presupposing?
right? Just like in the chess game scenario,
You,
where you have
okay,
rules to
okay, wait,
determine
hold
who wins the chess game, the same thing applies to debates. Debates have rules, and you've already agreed that they do in fact have rules. You've already agreed
on.
on
Again,
this.
I
Like,
say
I don't know what you're even arguing right
yeah,
now. Hmm. Huh?
I
What's up?
disagree because the example of the chess, right? In
You
chess,
disagree that debates have rules?
hold on, yeah, because the debating
You
rules have
disagree
to
that
be
debates have
established.
rules?
Different debates can have
Wait,
different
yes or
rules.
no? Do you disagree on this? Agree or
With
disagree?
what?
Do you agree or disagree on debates having rules? Yes or no? Which one is it?
I think it depends.
It depends. So you think in
Yeah,
some
so for
debates there's no
example,
burden of
yeah,
proof
let me
retard?
clarify. So for example, a debate can have like a
Wait,
fully
answer the
valid
question. Do you
argument,
think in
can
some
have like
debates
more
there
points
are no
given.
burden of proof rule? Yes or no?
What?
Do you think there are some debates where there are no burden of proof rule that's been applicable in the conversation?
I don't really care about burden of proof. Why are you specifically referring to burden of
You
proof?
don't care about burden of proof? No wonder you've not been proven any
No,
of your
I'm
claims.
asking why you're specifically referring to burden of
No wonder.
proof.
So you don't think burden of proof is a rule of debates? Yes or no? Like, you don't believe this?
Obviously, in my view, I think yeah, you have to show evidence for your claims. But I'm saying this
Okay,
debate,
so it is a rule of debates.
no
Got you.
burden of
So hold on. I'm not sure if you understand this, but if you search up like burden of proof, for example, it will tell you even on Wikipedia, legal and philosophical burden of proof is just the inherent concept or rule of debates, of legal court cases, legal debates, or philosophical debates. This is
okay,
why in debates, for
just
example,
because the
you
case is
ask for an
philosophical
argument for a
debate
proposition.
doesn't mean it's
What's
the
up?
case for debates. I've literally seen
Excuse
debates
me.
where like burden of proof wasn't even a rule.
How is it not a rule?
Yeah, I've literally seen debates where like there's like no burden of proof. It just
So
depends
it's
like
not a
who
debate then,
argues
because debate
is.
by definition is arguing for a position. So you not having the burden of the proof means that you're not really engaging in the debate, but rather a pontification session.
Yeah, I agree. Under my view, yeah, you need
Okay, so
burden of proof in a debate. I'm
by
just saying that it's not
definition, a
objective in the
debate.
case.
Hold on, you understand that by definition, debates are inextricably tied with argumentation theory.
Okay, and
Okay, so that means burden of proof is an objective rule of debates.
burden of okay. So
Burden of proof
wait,
just
what do
follows
you
from
mean? Wait, hold
argumentation
on.
theory. You give arguments
So
for propositions.
when you say burden of proof, like, are you referring
The
to like
responsibility for the original claimant to prove their
visual
claim, in case
evidence?
they didn't
Because
know that.
I just want to
In case you
understand.
never
So
knew what burden of proof is, I'm telling you right now. Mhm.
when you say burden of proof, right? Are you referring to like
Yeah?
visual evidence or just overall burden, like
Are
just
you freaking
like just
stupid?
argument?
The proof itself or the evidence is not the burden. The burden is the responsibility to demonstrate the evidence.
Yeah, and then when you refer to evidence, do you like what do you think this would entail?
My analysis of evidence is irrelevant to whether or not we have burden of
No, I
proof to
think
present
no, I think it's
evidence.
relevant. I think it's relevant so we can
No, it
understand.
isn't, because burden
It
of
is.
proof does not presuppose a particular conception of what proof and evidence is. It's
Yeah,
just telling you that
no,
there
no,
is, in
actually.
fact, some sort of responsibility to demonstrate some type of evidence.
Yeah, and do you think this is done through visual evidence or like any other form of evidence?
It can be any form of evidence, any form of evidence. Yeah.
Ah, okay, so it can be any form of evidence. Okay, great.
Yeah, do
So
you
good
think
to
this is
know.
helping your point right now, retard? You're still helping
Huh?
your point, because we're not debating over what
It
evidence
is.
is.
It,
We're
well, it
debating
is.
over whether or not burden of proof rule is something which exists, and you just
Yeah,
conceded indirectly that it
it's
existed.
it's not a. No, I never said it's non-existent. I said like under what I think.
You,
Yeah,
but now you
it would
agree that
be
it
a
exists.
rule.
It's a rule of
I'm saying
debates. It's a
I
rule of
literally
all
said I've
debates.
seen. I literally said I've seen debates where this wasn't the case. I never said that I'm conceding to anything.
Okay. Okay, so you understand that this does not invalidate the proposition. Like, for example, I could create a case scenario in which me and my friend plays chess, right? We have like the chess pieces on the chessboard, and we just like just do that this fight and war with the chess pieces and so far. So just like hit over all the chess pieces, right? And we classify that as a chess game. But technically
Mm.
speaking, it's not in accordance with the general chess rules. And the general chess rules will dictate that there's no winner because we're not even acting in conformity with it, right? So you telling me that you've seen a debate that you classified to be a debate, which is not in accordance with the
I
actual
never
rules
said
of
I
debates,
classified it
does
to
not
be a
tell me
debate.
jack shit about whether or not
I
these are
never
rules of
said
debates or not.
I never said I classified it to be a debate, like ever.
You said you've seen debate, so you're classifying it to be a debate, and
Yeah,
you're saying
but
that this debate did
okay,
not have
so
rules.
mhm.
Okay, so what are you talking about? You did
I'm
classify it to be a
simply
debate. What are you
saying,
talking
I'm
about?
simply saying, like, yeah, I believe that debate should have burden of proof, but I'm saying that I've seen quote
Okay,
unquote debates that do not have this.
You said you've seen debates where this does not apply. That you classified
Yeah,
it to be a
and I'm
debate, and then you
I'm not
say that it
saying
does
that
not
I
even
believe
apply
these
in
are
this case
actual
scenario.
debates. Like they're just cool debates based on what like those people were debating. They just said, oh, like debate this.
Okay, but you're still classified it to be a square debate. It's still a debate under your perspective.
No, no, it's not.
You said you have seen debates where this
Yeah,
happens,
and then I
but you're not saying that these
clarified.
things are debates.
Obviously, under what I
That's like
believe,
me saying
flat
I've
earth
seen
debates
women
have
with a
worked
fat
as proof.
ass, but
The
I'm not
reason
saying
why I'm
these women
saying
are women.
the reason why I'm calling it a debate is
That's
because
your
that's
logic,
what it was
dude.
proved when the conversation was happening.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you understand what the point here is, but you just agreed that burden of proof is a rule of debates, and we could use this rule in conjunct with other rules to make determinations of who wins a freaking point. So if someone does not fulfill the
Yeah, and
burden of
that's
proof, even
okay, and that's
given your
subjective
own
based
position,
because
hold on, given
again,
your own perspective,
you can use
given your
these
own
rules
perspective,
and burden of
independently,
proof.
independently of what anyone thinks, if someone does not fulfill their burden of proof, then they lost the point. That's your
Yeah, and
position, dude.
the idea of somebody
Okay, so
fulfilling
that
the
means
burden
it
of
is
proof of not.
objective. So we have
Hold on.
objective means of
It is
determining who wins a
subjective
point.
because the idea of you fulfilling the burden of proof of not is subjective. If I send a scan and then you don't refute the scan, I can think you didn't refute it, but someone else might think you did refute it, right? So
Just
it's
because some of the disagreements on whether or not the
oh my god,
refutation was
it
successful
just
does
proves that
not mean that there's no objective
that every
determinant
time
of
of
whether
court
or
case
not this
someone
refutation is
disagreeing,
successful.
right?
That's a
That would
doctrine
mean
argument. Again, this argument does not work.
it does work again as long as
No, it
there's
doesn't.
subjectivity of
You're
that
saying that, oh,
person
well, people can
disagreeing. So I
disagree
also
on whether
disagree.
or not the scan is refuted, therefore, there's no objective winner. That doesn't
Yeah,
follow. People can
you have a
also
point there.
disagree on the shape of the earth. Doesn't mean that there's no objective facts of the shape of the earth.
Okay, again, under what you believe, it may be objective. On the flat earthers theory, it may not be objective. There you go. There's the
Okay,
issue.
just because we have relativity of opinions does not mean that the fact itself is relative, retard.
Okay,
Same logic applies to
you're
the
just
water H2O
disputing the
example.
fact
You think that
itself.
water H2O or water being identical to H2O is objectively true.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, we can have someone who disagrees on that proposition. However, it's still going to be objective.
yeah, that can be factually proven. The Earth being like obviously flat or round is something that like you have to use empiricism for, and it's not something that can be
You don't
factually.
think you don't think you can factually prove the Earth being round
Why do you think there's so
or
many flat
flat?
earthers in the world then?
Dog, rockets exist. We can go to outer space. What
Okay,
time
then
frame are
let's
you living in? What
bro.
like are you
Okay,
okay?
so why do you think there's so many flat earthers? It's a factual. If it can be factually proven.
Where do you get people who does not know water being H2O despite it being factually proven?
Are you literally comparing the amount of flat earthers we have to people that don't believe that water is
Are you
H2O,
literally
and those
compared?
people who
Are you
literally
literally
believe that haven't
compared? Yeah,
studied
dude, that's not
science
the
or haven't
argument.
studied
You
chemistry?
think for some reason someone not believing in something automatically indicates it can be subjective. I've given you case scenarios in which someone does not believe in water being H2O and it will still be an objective fact, right? So that doesn't even follow this conversation.
Again, that example just doesn't follow because once again, that can be
Saying
factually
that the
proven.
example does not
Earth
follow is not the
being
refutation
flat,
of the actual
right?
pointer. The example
Huh?
does follow. It is perfectly analogous because you think if someone disagrees on a particular matter, just like
Hmm.
in the flat Earth example, it automatically indicates
Yeah,
that the thing
if someone
itself is going to
disagrees
be a
on a
subjective
particular matter,
phenomenon.
they just
Now, given your
so that
own logic,
bro,
water being identical to H2O is also
hold on.
subjective because there are in fact people who can disagree on the particular matter. Your
Okay, but are
argument
those people
sucks.
gonna give me okay? Are those people gonna give me any form of evidence to prove that water is not H2O? They're not, right? They're
Are
just gonna
those
say, "Oh, I
flat Earthers going to
believe
give
it."
me any piece of evidence that the Earth is flat, retard?
I mean, they can be. They can be people that give you evidence that the
I
Earth
mean,
is
they
like flat.
can give evidence as to why the water is not H2O,
No, they
right?
can't. Okay, show me an example of a
Why
person
is it
giving
not
evidence
logically
that water is
possible for water
H2O.
to not be H2O, retard?
Show me an example of a
Why is it
person
not
giving
theoretically
a
possible? Why is it not theoretically possible for water to not be H2O? And we have evidence for this. Why is it not theoretically possible?
why is it not theoretically possible for water to not be H2O?
Yeah.
Because like water is comprised of two hydrogen atoms, one oxygen atom, that would be
Just
H2O.
because it is a fact that this is true, it doesn't mean it is possibly not true.
Are you a troll? What do you mean? Just because it's a fact
Is
that it's
this your
true,
argument in response to getting blown the fuck up right now?
are you talking about
Are
other
you
like possible
true?
worlds?
I'm talking about a possibility within this world,
Hey,
retard.
if
Is it
within this
possible,
world,
given the
is
real
there a
world facts,
possibility that
that
water
this
is
is
not
true? The answer is
H2O?
yes.
Okay,
Do you
within
know
this
that
world,
scientists all embrace epistemic humility? Do you know what epistemic
within
humility
this
is?
world, Apollo, is there a
Answer the
possibility that
question.
water is
Do you know
not
what
H2O?
epistemic humility is?
Do I know what epistemic what?
Humility.
No, I don't know what that term refers to.
Every scientist, by the way, I can send you links for this, acknowledges the possibility of their judgments being false because scientists do not believe that there are any claims in science which has proof. There's evidence, but there's not proof of it. Meaning that every single scientist concedes to the possibility of their empirical judgments being false.
Why would that
Every
apply?
scientist.
Why would that
So
apply to
who are
that?
you to tell me? Show you what, sorry?
Why would that apply to chemical formulas?
What
I
are you
don't really
saying,
understand what you're
retard?
saying right now. You're saying like every scientist believes that what they empirically
Every
verify is
scientist
not true.
agrees that for every scientific fact X, it is possibly false.
It is possibly false. Okay, but you have to give an argument as to why it would be possibly false, not just say, "Oh, it is possibly
The
false."
argument is based off they're not meeting the logical contradiction, they're not meeting the contradiction to the laws of physics. So with respect to the
What
modality of
is
physics and
what is
logic,
the
it would
logical
actually be a
contradiction in
possibility.
water being
Now we can even
H2O?
go down the
What is
scopes of possibilities, and
what is
we
the
can further
logical
explicate as to
contradiction?
how it would in fact be a possibility,
What is the
right?
logical contradiction in water being H2O? I don't really understand.
That's the point. There's no logical contradiction, so it's logically
Okay, so
possible.
if there's no logical
Okay, so
contradiction,
it is
how
logically
is it
possible.
possibly
There you
false?
go. Yeah,
How is it
okay.
possibly false? How is it possibly false?
Because you just agree there's no logical contradiction in it being true,
Oh
in it
my
being
bro. What?
the
That
rules
literally
of
proves
logic
enough
is what
point.
dictates
Bro,
whether or not
like
something
what?
is logically possible. So if something is not violating these rules, then by definition it would have to be possible.
We're talking about it being possibly false, right?
Yes, the
So if there's
possibility
a
of it being false is going
contradiction,
to be something which is compatible with
if
the laws of logic, therefore
if
it's
there's
logically
a
possibly false.
contradiction,
Yeah, there you
if there's a
go.
contradiction to water being H2O, then yes, it's possibly false that water is H2O. However, that is not the case because you agreed that
Okay,
it's not possibly false. So there's
do
no
you agree
contradiction.
that there's a logical contradiction in water not being H2O or not? Which one is it?
Do I agree there's a logical contradiction in water being H2O?
Yes.
No, no, I don't agree.
Okay, is there a logical contradiction in water not being H2O?
Is there a logical contradiction in water not being H2O?
Yeah.
I don't think that's relevant.
That doesn't say
I
whether
don't
or not
I,
there is in fact a
in this
logical
world. In
contradiction.
this world, I don't think.
If I'm asking you yes or no, is there a logical contradiction? And your response is
Yeah, I
that's
don't
not
really
relevant.
understand
That's
what
not
you
you
mean by
telling me a
water
yes
not
or
being
no to my yes or
H2O.
no question. So I'm
I
going to
just don't
re-ask the
understand what
question.
you mean by water
Yes
not
or
being
no,
H2O.
is there a logical contradiction in water not being
I don't really see
H2O?
how it's relevant. Like, if we're talking about water being H2O, then yeah,
I don't
sure,
care
there
about
will
if
be
you
no.
count it as relevant. I care about if you answer the goddamn question with a
I
yes or
just don't
no.
think it's relevant. That's the issue.
So you agree or debated the question?
I'm just simply saying that water being H2O, there's no
So you
logical
evaded the
contradiction.
question. So you dodged the question, right?
I'm not dodging the question. I just don't think that you saying the opposite
If
of
you're
what you're
not
saying
dodging the question,
is
then
relevant.
answer the question. Don't tell me it's not relevant. Answer the
I
question.
don't think it is. No,
So you're not. Do you think you telling me that the question is not relevant is you
I
giving me a
think
response
that
that
is
I'm expected
relevant
for the
because your
question?
initial point was water being H2O,
Is it
right?
responding to
You
the
said
question though?
you
Is it
said
responding to the
you
question?
said there's a logical contradiction to
Is it
water being
responding to the
H2O.
question?
Did you not
Is
say
it
that
addressing
there's
the
a
question?
logical contradiction to water being H2O? And I
You
proved to you
giving
that it is
me?
not.
I'm not asking you if the question is relevant. I'm asking you if it is the case that this would in fact be true. So is it a yes or
This
no?
depends what you mean by true.
True is in that which reflects what the real world actually
Or
is,
reality,
or just
right?
the
Yeah,
question.
correct. So water being H2O, there's no logical
Is it
contradiction.
logically contradictory for waters to not be H2O? Answer the goddamn question.
Why are you talking about not being H2O? I'm talking about water being H2O.
I'm talking about water not being H2O, so answer the question.
In this
Is
world,
it
no, I
logically
don't think that's the case.
contradictory?
I don't think that's the case in this
Okay,
world.
so
I
it's
think
not
water is
logically
H2O.
contradictory, correct?
What?
So it's not logically contradictory, correct? Since you just said no to the question.
I said there's no logical contradiction to water being H2O.
Is there any logical contradiction in water not being H2O?
In water not being H2O, I just said I don't think that's the case in this world. I
Okay,
think water
cool.
has to
So
be
it's not
H2O.
logically contradictory in this world that water is not H2O.
I think water has to be H2O. Like it's necessary for
So
water to be
you think it is
H2O.
logically necessary that water is H2O?
Correct.
Okay, so explain to me how it is logically entailed from the definition of water that it is H2O, retard.
When did I say that it's from the definition that it's entailed, that it's,
Okay, so it's
what's it
not
called?
entailed from what water is that it is H2O, therefore it's not logically necessary.
What? You said from the
What
definition. Why
part
are
of
you
my
switching your
argument
point?
is confusing for your low IQP sized brain
You
to
said from the
understand? If it is
definition.
not
You said from the
entailed from the
definition.
concept, then it is not logically necessary, Rano. That's how logic
Okay,
works.
so if H2O equals two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom, then yes, it would be logically necessary. I don't see an issue.
That doesn't follow from it being identical to two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom, that
Well,
it
you are
would have to be
pro.
the case that water is identical to H2O
Okay,
chemical
what are
composition.
comprised of?
That
Hold
again
on,
is not
hold
a
on, hold on,
logical sector. What are you talking
hold on.
about?
What is water comprised of? Let's take you to a chemistry lesson. What's water comprised of? Go
Chemistry
ahead.
lesson? I need to take you to a logic lesson right now because you don't even
Oh
understand
yeah,
what the
your
point
logic
right.
lessons just don't working on me. I
My
don't
logic
think you
lesson is definitely something you'd benefit from, and maybe after the lesson you stop being retarded. So I'm going to tell you
again.
one more
Tell me
time,
what
okay?
water is
So,
comprised of.
so
What elements is water
retard,
comprised
retard. No one disagrees on water being H2O given the chemical
of? Oh, then
facts.
it's
I'm
logically
saying that does
necessary
not
that water
rule out
is
the
H2O. Since
possibility
water is
of it not being H2O.
Oh, then it's logically necessary that water is H2O. So you just conceded.
Retard. There's a difference between something
What's the
being
difference?
true in chemistry and it being logically necessary. Do you understand the distinction? Yes or no?
So you think it's not logically necessary for water to be H2O? Is that what you're saying?
Retard. Do you understand the distinction between synthetic facts and facts that are logically necessary? Yes or no?
Do I understand the difference between what? Sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Do you understand the distinction between synthetic a posteriori facts and facts that are logically necessary?
I don't know what you mean by
Do you
synthetic
understand the
facts.
distinction, son?
I don't know what you mean by synthetic facts.
Synthetic, that's how it's pronounced.
No, I'm asking like, what do you mean by
It's a
that?
fact about the world. It's something which is not entailed from the definition, and it's going to be something which is empirically justified given the a posteriori knowledge we have in our data set. Now tell me, how is it going to be the
Mm,
case it follows from maybe the fact in chemistry that water
mhm.
is H2O, that it is going to be a fact of logic that it is in fact H2O?
So you think that it's not like it's not a fact of logic that water is H2O? Is that what you're saying?
Low tier. They didn't
I'm
address the
asking you
question.
a question,
You
like what?
dodged. You've been a
I'm asking you
dodgeball
a
athlete
question.
right now
I'm
instead of
asking you a
addressing
question.
the goddamn question.
I'm asking you a question. Do you think it's not like logically
Asking
necessary
me
that
a
water is
question does not
H2O?
address my question, retard.
No, I'm just asking you a
Want to try
question.
again? You're just
I'm
asking me
asking
a
you a
question
question.
to dodge the actual question because you know for a fact you
I'm
get in
asking
your
you a
back on
question
the
because
fuck
I
up.
really want to
So I'm going
understand
to
what you're saying.
re-ask. I'm going to re-ask the question. I'm not going to let you run from the question. I'm not going to let you run. So I'm going to ask you the question one more time. So is it the case that you believe that just because it is a fact of chemistry that water is H2O, that it would follow from this being a fact of chemistry that it is a logically necessary truth that water is H2O? Yes
Nah,
or
what I
no? Answer the goddamn question.
clarify what I meant earlier is that like water is H2O based on the fact that it doesn't entail a logical contradiction.
Okay, now that claim is different from the other retarded claim you mentioned, which is that it is logically necessary that it is H2O because chemists agree on this.
Because chemistic, no, I said like it's literally because it's comprised of two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen
You
atom.
said you'll take me to a just to be clear, you said you'd take me to a chemistry lesson, right?
Yeah,
This is
because
not
I don't.
about chemistry, retard. We're talking about whether or not it is a logically necessary fact.
I think it is a fact because it doesn't entail a logical contradiction. Sure.
Wait, just to be clear on this, you agree
Wait,
that scientists hold on, guys. You agree, Rano, you agree that scientists do not have proof for claims, right?
Nah, I disagree. I think they have proof for some things.
You are retarded.
wait,
Do you
Rano.
know what proof is?
Wait, Rano, are you saying that
Just
the
say
reason
that
why
to
you
be
think it's
empirically
logically
Wait,
verified.
don't even
necessary?
step into the conversation. No, 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 no,
Hmm?
no, 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 no. Hold on, give me 1 second. I got this. Ronald, you just proved to everyone in this voice call you know nothing about anything you're actually spouting out of your little big oversized lips, okay? Proof is not a concept in science, right? Proof is a concept in mathematics. Proof is something which is constructed, which logically guarantees the proposition. Scientists say they have evidence for propositions, not proof for
You
propositions.
don't think
Science.
evidence is
Google
proof?
is free, by the way.
Sure.
Google
You
is
don't think
literally
evidence
free,
is
you
proof?
dumbass. Just search it up on Google. You
Wait,
would
you
get
don't
the
think
answer.
evidence is proof?
No, they're not identical. No, they're not.
You don't think
They're not identical.
this guy is a troll? You don't think evidence is
Oh,
proof?
really? Oh, really? So if I present several links from several cosmologists, several scientists, including Brian Cox, including people like even that what's his name again? Brian Cox is one physicist. Sean Carroll is another physicist. There's several physicists, by the
Mhm,
way, who would agree with me on
mhm.
this. Neil deGrasse, for example, I think that's his name, would agree that there's no proof for propositions in science. There's evidence. Evidence is not the same as proof. Proof is construed in mathematics and in science is going to be something which is constructive. It's going to be something which logically guarantees the truth value of propositions. Evidence does not do this. It probabilistically raises the credence of propositions. It doesn't guarantee
And
being true or not.
I think they can be used interchangeably. You think that's an issue with that?
Just because it can be used interchangeably doesn't mean that they are
Yeah,
used
and I'm using them
interchangeably in science and
interchangeably.
mathematics.
Like,
Oh, I can
evidence is
use the word woman interchangeably with man. Doesn't mean that they are identical,
no,
retard.
no, you can't. Like
You can
unless
use
you like.
any word interchangeably in language.
No, it's not any word that you can use. Like you can't use
Yes, you
evil
can,
and good
because linguistic
interchangeably.
prescriptivism is false.
How do you use evil and good like interchangeably, Apollo?
How do I use what? Sorry.
Evil and good interchangeably. You said you can use any word in language interchangeably.
Oh, really? I'll just do it right now. So I think Apollo is an evil person, and by Apollo I mean by evil. Sorry, I mean good. There you go. I just use it interchangeably. I use the word
What?
evil and substitute for the word good, and then clarified what I mean by the word evil in that given context. I just did it
So
in real time.
you what? So just repeat what you said. So you think Apollo is an evil person, and then what did you say afterwards?
Yes, and
I
by
didn't hear.
evil I just mean good. There you go.
Okay, but then you have to prove that evil actually means good, not just based on you saying evil means good.
You
That's the
don't
issue.
prove definitions, you idiot.
This
You don't
guy is
prove
so.
definitions because definitions aren't
Apollo,
things which
when we
reflects
use
facts about the
definitions,
world. It's just something
when
which
we use
reflects what I
definitions,
mean by a particular
when we use
word when I'm
when we use
invoking that
definitions, right?
terminology in a
Do we not
linguistic
just go by
discourse
what?
or activity.
When we use
Do you think
definitions,
definitions are things which are proven, retard?
no, I never said that. I think definitions
Okay,
is
so
something.
why did you ask me to prove that this is what it means if you agree that proof is going to be categorically erroneous and you're going to be applying that to the concepts of definitions?
I'm talking about how definitions are generally used.
Is
So
this just
if
is this like just a bad day for you, or are you just like genuinely this retarded?
if good generally is understood to have a different definition to evil, right? You cannot use them
Okay, so we can
interchangeably.
have different definitions, and that diversity of definitions in the field of linguistics is going to cause for the possibility of interchangeability, even if the conventionally are not identical definitions, right? So your whole logic falls apart, it collapses. You'll be throwing logic and facts under the bus by denying every single claim I'm making right now.
What are you saying? Can you repeat what you said? That was so
Can you
funny.
repeat what I'm saying? Because
You
me
Just repeat
retarded.
what you
So
said.
repeat, please. Me
Just
retarded. I'm
repeat
gonna
what you
repeat it
said.
for you,
I'm
retard.
so
So
dumb.
what
Just
I'm
repeat what
telling you here is you'd be throwing logic and facts under the bus by denying the propositions I mentioned because you just in fact
I'm not
agreed
denying anything. I'm
that
just
it is a
saying that
category error to ask for proof for definitions.
it's a categorical error to ask for proof or definitions.
You just said that you agree that you do not prove definitions. It's on the clip.
Yeah, based on the fact. Okay, what I meant by that is that we use
Okay,
the.
so you asking me for proof for definitions was
Oh
a
God,
blunder. It was a
guys,
blunder.
I just clarified what I meant by that. I'm saying that
W
when we use
blunder.
Me name is Rano. Me
listen,
retarded. Me can't
hold
check
on.
point. Yeah,
When we
retard.
use
I'm telling you
definitions,
here that your point was a blunder. Can you move on back to the
it's
water
not a
H2O
blunder. No,
conversation?
no, no, no.
You're retarded
It's
on
not a
that
blunder.
point.
It's not a. So when we use like when we
Huh?
look at definitions, we go by how they're generally
Do you even know
understood,
what point
right?
you've been on right now, retard?
You saying that I think evil means good, right? Me saying I'm asking you to prove that is not me
I
asking
think
you
we
to
need to
prove
put your tracking
evil
skills
is
under
good.
surveillance here. We need
It's
to put
me
your
asking you
tracking
to
skills under
prove
the dialectical
that good
surveillance.
evil can be
What
used
point are you even
interchangeably.
on right now?
You just missed
Yeah,
it.
let's put the retard Rano's tracking skills under dialectical surveillance by asking him what point he's on right now. So, Rano, what point are you even on right now in the conversation, retard?
I mean, it's about definitions being interchangeable. That's what you were saying.
Okay, now how is this relevant to the major point of this agreement? If you even remember the major point, you retard.
The major point was like, was it about like the H2O, like prior to that?
You're asking me, or you're telling
Yeah,
me?
I don't remember, bro.
Yeah, this guy's retarded. I think we can just end the recording. This
Oh,
guy's
you
like
can end the
actually
recording.
retarded.
You are
This guy's
fucking
like one
dumb.
of the dumbest retarded. Like
You guys
it's
ended
all
it.
is me
You
debated the dumbest like you victims. All is me. But I mean, to be fair, I called him out anyways because we're supposed to have a conversation. But that's